You know, the California Independent System Operator is indeed a service provider, like many of you, and like IMS. And we have to serve about 35 million Californians, and many people don't know who we are, and that's a good place to be. But it's also something we have to consider because we have to make sure that the grid is balanced every 4 seconds. You may not know that. Every 4 seconds we have to dispatch power plants and make sure that things are in order. But we have 25,000 miles of high voltage transmission. We have over thousands of generators. About $8.5 billion transfers through the ISO, through the markets here. And you have to tie all that together. We have a lot of customers. And we have a lot of stakeholders. It can be from the governor's office to legislative leaders to the utilities, PG&E, SMUD, wherever you may be from. And they're all interested in their business cases, their business models, the things that they need to do. So one of the things I've been trying to drive here at the California ISO is a customer service culture. Because I want every interaction that we have to be something that people enjoy and they appreciate. They may not get the answer they want, but they enjoy and they appreciate it, and they know that they've been served. And how do we do that? I firmly believe that the employees, the team members, have got to be enlisted in that effort, and they've got to appreciate what they're doing. And I boil it down to 3 things. And these 3 things, I think, is what makes people come in. My office up on the 3rd floor in the office wing overlooks the parking lot. And I can see people walk in every morning. Now, it's not about, sure, I know if they come in at 9:30, and I might wonder what the heck happened, but I can see it. I can see when they shuffle in. I can see others that come in with a purpose. And I know that people that come in with a purpose have been attended to. And they've been attended to in 3 ways. First, they have to feel like they're part of a winning team, and that's a culture and something that I have to view here at the ISO. We're doing great things. It's a cool place to work. You should feel good about being here. That's a critical element of it, and you have to establish that. The second is that they have to be challenged. Obviously, somebody who's coming in has a mundane task, does something over and over again. But there are jobs like that, but there are ways of overcoming that mundaneness. You can switch them around, they can give extra challenges. There's lots of ways to mix it up. And you have to mix it up because they have to feel challenged, one way or the other. And then the final thing is they have to feel appreciated. And appreciated is not about patting on the back, not about all the thank yous. Those are important. But it's making sure they're valued as a human. Do you know what they did this weekend? Do you know about their kids? Do you know about this and that? That's how you connect with them. And that's how they feel appreciated. And if you have those 3 elements, you'll create the culture that you want, and it's something I'm trying to strive here at the ISO. Because you have to have people that do have a passion, because that's what translates into service. So appreciation, a winning team, and a challenging assignment. Those are critical things that we do here at the ISO to try to move things along to make sure we service our customers. Of course, we have a control room, and we have a bunch of people who are here 24/7, and we have to feed them and things like that. That's really what keeps them going. But anyway, those are my comments. I don't know what else you want me to get into. I'm happy to take questions, talk about the ISO at all if you have any.
That's good. If you have a couple of questions real quick for Steve.
So is the ISO an independent organization, or is it regulated under a commission? How does it work?
Oh, are we regulated? You bet. The California ISO is a public benefit not-for-profit organization. It's 501(c) under the tax code. We were created by California legislation in 98-ish, I may be off by a year or 2. So we're a created entity, but we're a private corporation. We're a private public benefit not-for-profit corporation. And we're regulated by FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission in Washington, D.C. There are 5 FERC commissioners. And we operate under a tariff. The tariff talks about how our market works and how we're going to handle transmission and things like that. It's all approved by FERC. We're all regulated by FERC. Our board, we have a 5-member board. Our 5-member board is appointed by the governor and is approved by the Senate. That itself was a compromise between the state of California and FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, coming out of the energy crisis, because we had a stakeholder board and they wanted a complete independent board, and it's sort of compromised. We'll let the governor do it, but they're independent board members. So that's a long answer to your question.
Thank you.
We'll over here. We'll come back to you, Lonnie.
Just following up on his question, so before 98, what kept everything going?
What happened? It's chaos. Here's what happened. The California electric industry was deregulated, and they call it restructuring. You may have heard of that, and those who have lived here a long time. Much of the U.S., about 80% of the United States operates under structured markets like we run. And so California deregulated. What happened is that the utilities split up. They sold off all their generation. They used to be integrated utilities from generation to home delivery. Now we have transmission companies, generation companies that compete now. And the idea is to have competition in the wholesale market to bring down the price of power. We do a study every year that looks at the wholesale price of power, and we can tell the competition is working, because what we'll do is we adjust the price of power for natural gas prices, and we can see that competitive forces are in fact at work. Every 5 minutes, we dispatch the grid. What happens is a power purchaser or a power generator will put in bids in our market. I have extra power to sell, or I need to buy power, and we match them up, sort of like the New York Stock Exchange. And that decides how the system is going to be dispatched. And in that way, we optimize, and we figure that we save California about $500 million a year through that optimization. So every 5 minutes, we figure out the best dispatch of the transmission system and generation system. The cheapest generator, the lowest cost transmission path. That's what we do, and that's what we're situated to do. Now, the 5-minute dispatch, as I said, is married up with a 4-second. It's called automated generation dispatch or control. We actually here at the ISO have direct connection, usually to about 25 generators at a time. And what they do is they take pulses from us, and every 4 seconds they'll move up or they'll move down. Because you guys are out there are flicking on your lights and turning off your lights and turning on your air conditioners, turn off, so that just wreaks havoc. So our computer systems balance all of that. And it gets balanced at the frequency of 60 hertz for those of you who are interested in such things. But that's what we do. And I'm sure somebody will take you over the control room, and you can see the control room here at the ISO. That's why we have armed guards. You had to pass through them and through our security gate, because we're a critical infrastructure site. It would be bad if something happened here.
Great. Lonnie?
Well, you really answered my question. I was going to suggest, since you are kind of a hidden entity to most common people, what you do. You kind of described it. But for the heck of it, so what would not work if somehow this building was blown up? What would stop working in the overall California electrical system?
Are you interested in something?
No. I just...
I want you to know that on Monday afternoon, I had lunch with an FBI agent. I will make sure I give him your card. No, what would happen? Here's what would happen. And let me try to do this in as lay language as I can. I told you about the frequency of the system is at 60 hertz. Everybody remember that?
Yes.
And you guys all remember that your homes are at about roughly 120 volts. Everybody know that? If you stick your finger in the outlet, that's what you'll get, unless you use your dryer outlet, you'll get 220. What would happen is it would start to get out of balance. Probably we would go dark in about 11 minutes would be my guess. The entire if California crashed, the entire western grid would come with it, because California is about 40% of the western grid. So that's what would happen. Now, you might be comforted to know that we have a fully functional backup site in Southern California, and I'm not going to give you any more details than that because Lonnie apparently...
Steve, it would just get a better understanding.
That's what would happen. Have you guys ever had brownouts at your house? Ever seen a brownout? That's either a frequency sag or voltage sag is what's going on there. And a lot of times it can happen if the distribution level is coming to your house. That's what would happen across a broad system. And what happens is generators, those big generating plants, and you see gas, or we don't have much coal here, but generally gas here in California, they are designed to drop off the grid when the frequency gets out of whack. So what happens is they would start dropping off the grid and would be dark, probably within 15 minutes would be my guess. And there was a blackout. Blackouts are bad. If you guys, you lose your power at home, but widespread blackouts are bad. You get people stuck in elevators, the fire department has to go get them all out. Gas stations don't work, cars get stolen on the highways, lights don't work, bad things happen. So if we drop the ball, bad things will happen.